Hello, I'm Lara Kulcharsan and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. The US President Donald Trump's new $450 million immigration center, built in just 8 days in Florida's Everglades, is in trouble. Dubbed Alligator Alcatraz, the facility sits in a swamp filled with crocs, alligators, and pythons. But experts warn detainees and staff are more likely to be harmed by mosquitoes, hurricanes, and heat than by predators. The center has already flooded once, and experts say it may not meet hurricane safety requirements. The first group of detainees claim they're enduring inhumane conditions, including a lack of water, food, and religious rights. This facility symbolizes Trump's mass deportation agenda, backed by a $170 billion budget by the Senate. Meanwhile, as part of his anti-migrant policies, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is actively targeting migrants across the country, despite protests. There are even reports suggesting that ICE agents use a mobile app that identifies individuals using facial recognition or fingerprints. But certain industries are not happy with President Trump's anti-immigration sentiments, especially farmers and hotel owners whose livelihoods heavily rely on undocumented workers. So to keep them happy, Trump seems to be looking for a compromise. While there's no official plan yet, the US president says he's willing to let migrant laborers stay on US farms.
If a farmer is willing to vouch for these people, in some way, Christy, I think we're going to have to just say that's going to be good, right? You know, we're going to be good with it, because we don't want to do it where we take all of the workers off the farms. We want the farms to do great, like they're doing right now. And we're going to issue a form of a card or document, and the farmer is going to be responsible for these people. They're not going to have citizenship, but they'll be working, they'll be paying taxes.
This is slavery. Trump says it's okay because immigrants harvesting our food and feeding our families aren't people. They're just farm workers. No path to citizenship. No rights. Deportation threatened daily. This is slavery repackaged as policy.
Now he's saying he's going to release them to go work on the farms and let the farmer take responsibility of the migrants. They're going to call it owner responsibility. They should call it MDS, modern day slavery, because that's what that would be. You think farmers should be in charge or, in control of anybody. They were working on the farm on their own, some of them, not all of them, on their own. You guys decide to round them up and lock them up. Now you pondering on the idea to release them to go work on the farms and have the farmer be in control or in charge of them. That should be modern day slavery. That's what that is. To us black folks, that's screaming slavery.
A teenage pilot's record-breaking journey has hit some turbulence, and not just in the air. 19-year-old American influencer Ethan Guo is trying to become the first person to fly solo to all 7 continents, raising money for cancer research along the way. But when he landed in Antarctica without prior approval, Chilean authorities weren't impressed. Officials say Guo changed his flight plan without permission and broke several national and international rules, landing on King George Island, a territory Chile claims in Antarctica. Guo says he faced complications mid-flight and had no choice but to divert. He's been sharing his journey with over 1 million Instagram followers since last September. But now his mission is facing serious legal headwinds.
Attempting to become the first person ever to fly to all 7 continents solo, but getting here hasn't been easy.
At 13, I began preparing for this by homeschooling and finishing high school early to focus fully on my mission. At 15, with funding challenges, I worked different jobs to help pay for training and constantly search for sponsors.
Unfortunately, while preparing, my cousin was diagnosed with stage 4 blood cancer. Wanting to help, I shifted this mission to something more important.
So at 16, I completed my first solo flight. By 17, I earned all my pilot's license and set a record for the fastest time to fly to all contiguous states. Still, no insurance company wanted to cover my flight around the world, so I flew across the Atlantic twice and finally got insurance. But on the first day of my journey around the world, my engine failed, leaving me stranded. Over the next couple of months, I learned how to fix planes, volunteered at the local flight school, and began preparing for my second attempt. But by the time everything was ready, winter had arrived, making it too dangerous to continue.
After a total of 5 years of preparation, failures, and overcoming challenges, I turned 18, ready to risk my life to finish what I've started.
I've taken off again. In the next 120 days, I'll be flying 40,000 more miles, visiting 50 countries and landing at all 7 continents in this 50-year-old plane. Along the way, I faced extreme weather and mechanical mechanical challenges vast oceans in isolation, all while stopping at hospitals, meeting with patients, and raising awareness and funds to fight against cancer. But I can't do this alone. So follow along and share this mission as together we can save lives and create history.
Some are calling him the extreme hustler, others a serial con artist. This is after Silicon Valley exposed an Indian software designer, Soham Parekh, for working at several competing startups at the same time. The fraudster apparently secured jobs paying him up to $200,000 a year while doing minimal work. Employers claim the excuses range from drone strikes to visa issues, and afterwards, he just vanished.
Yeah, in Silicon Valley, where people spend months to find that one tech job in a startup, this guy had multiple in a year.
Is that true?
It is true. And making up to $1 million as founders are quoting. And in the same valley where people are logging just 2 to 3 hours a day and working in companies like Oracle, Salesforce, best work-life balance, this guy has worked in multiple at the same time, was lying in multiple ways in his resume or sometimes why he couldn't make up for that meeting.
This guy found out that he was doing this a year ago and he warned him and told him not to be scamming people, but Soham Parekh, our man, has been doing it since then. And so he called him out on Twitter and this tweet got 15 million views. And all of this drama is basically us watching Soham Parekh speedrun his career. Like, I'd never think he's going to have a job again in these startup circles because he's gotten on the wrong side of Y Combinator. Now, what is Y Combinator and why are they so important? If you don't know, Y Combinator is like the Harvard of the startup world, which is a very simplified explanation, but they have like a fund where they give startup founders hundreds of thousands of dollars. They have like so many founders who have come out of their network who run like the biggest companies in the world. And so it's like the gold standard of startup networking, funding, culture, building cool products. Like, they are at the heart of it all. And this guy, Soham Parekh, is trying to run this scam in specifically Y Combinator companies. And you know what the funniest part is? After this dude tweeted it out, so many people have been tweeting being like, wait, we just hired Soham Parekh, or we just had a call with him, we just had an interview with him, we were just talking to him, and it's like this dude is all over the place.
The internet is now buzzing with videos of how Parekh pulled it off and what impact his deception will have in the field of remote working for employers and employees.
How did he pull this off? It all started with this cold email. Soham would send the same message to multiple companies saying, I love everything about what your company is doing. I don't have many hobbies outside coding. I am not athletic, bad at singing, don't drink, can't dance. Building is the only thing I am good at. I just want to be heads down chasing that goal. Now, this email is actually genius. The vulnerability about having no hobbies, the self-deprecating humor, the laser focus on work, it hits every psychological trigger that makes founders think this is exactly the kind of dedicated engineer we need. And companies kept falling for it. He'd ace the interviews, get hired, then quietly start working multiple jobs without anyone knowing. The internet couldn't get enough. Twitter exploded with Soham memes. The whole saga became a viral phenomenon. But beyond the memes, this story reveals something serious. Because of Soham's scheme, trust in remote work is eroding. Companies that build their systems on good faith are now questioning every remote employee. Now, Soham isn't alone. There's an entire overemployed subreddit with over 500,000 members sharing tips on working multiple remote jobs. They treat it like a legitimate career strategy, calling it overemployment and sharing tactics on managing multiple bosses without getting caught. The Soham Parekh phenomenon shows how remote work creates opportunities that never existed before.
Luxury fashion house Prada has issued a public apology after facing a backlash for its sandals that many say walk a little too close to the Indian original. The Italian brand sent models down the runway in Milan a couple of weeks ago, wearing T-strap leather sandals that looked strikingly similar to Kolhapuri chappals. Despite the obvious Indian influence, the brand gave no mention of their roots. So, social media erupted, accusing Prada of cultural appropriation.
This sandal right here, here's a better look at it. People saw this and thought, wait, Prada just stole the Kolhapuri chapal, which is emblematic of Indian heritage. Oh, and the Indian government took notice. They sent a letter to Prada and Prada eventually apologized. After the public outcry, Prada clearly admitted that they were inspired by traditional Indian footwear. Now Prada says they're in communication with local artisans to make this shoe.
Kolhapuri chappals are traditional handcrafted leather footwear from Maharashtra, India, known for their unique design and royal history. Crafted by skilled artisans, they can take anywhere from 3 to 4 days to make, depending on the complexity. It's a fascinating blend of culture, craftsmanship, and history, and can be found in every Indian male's wardrobe.
You took 800 years of Maharashtrian craftsmanship, slapped a logo on it, and acted like you designed it. And we are supposed to clap? No. Frankly, we love seeing our heritage on international stages. But what's the point if the heritage isn't acknowledged? Prada, you missed out an opportunity to spotlight Indian culture and heritage on a global platform and contribute to the narrative of representation and inclusivity. So Prada, next time you want to walk in our shoes, at least name the street you stole them from.
But those sandals aren't the only thing Western fashion has borrowed or outright stolen from the East. South Asian style is having a major moment this summer. The problem is, no one is giving credit to them. For example, a flowing dress paired with a scarf is making waves as the latest trend on our feeds. But scroll through social media, and it's being described as Scandinavian or European with no mention of its South Asian roots.
We've seen major companies adopt cultural wear as festival attire and bring holistic Asian approaches to the Western world without credit, while continuously using our culture for aesthetics to later just discard it when it's not trendy anymore. We see that Eastern culture is used as inspiration and is a blueprint for Western fashion, but when will there be appropriate research and acknowledgement?
Elements of traditional South Asian Desi clothing, such as the dupatta, have been rebranded as the Scandinavian scarf. The reason why that's so insulting is because it literally feeds into this idea of Scandinavia, this fetishization of Scandinavian culture, because it's just close enough to your whiteness, but just exotic enough to sort of sit in that in-between land where it's glamorized. If you decide to wear a cute little scarf with your cute little dress this summer, just know that you are A, erasing the South Asian origins of that really important piece of clothing, B, you're whitewashing it for your own aesthetic consumerism, and C, you are unfortunately perpetuating Eurocentric beauty standards.
Fashion is always changing and constantly bends the rules. But questions are being asked about what happens when a dominant culture rebrands someone else's traditions as its own.
Genuinely learning and connecting with other cultures toward a mutual benefit, that's appreciation.
Appropriation is taking an aspect of another culture for personal gain while erasing the origins and meaning. To avoid this,
take responsibility and be honest, especially when you're wrong or uninformed. It's the only way to learn and grow.
Check your motivations. Do you really need to wear the thing? Do you really need to participate? Don't use other cultures to satisfy needs of belonging, desirability, or uniqueness.
Is it accurate? Cultural appropriation erases nuance, depth, and complexity, all while claiming to make it better. That's what colonizers do. Yikes.
Determine who's profiting. Profits shouldn't go to companies or people with no roots in the culture of origin. Buy directly from communities. But remember, just because something's on sale doesn't mean it's appropriate for you.
Is there a deeper meaning? For example, yoga is not just stretching. Take note of what is erased when things go mainstream, and take interest in learning more.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.